And now Laugh-In presents Chapter 1 in the story of the Farkel Family.
Oh, Frank, you've been at it all day. Why do you feel you have to do everything yourself?
The point is, I did it myself. That way, I know it will work. Excuse me. Hi, Ferd. Why, Ferd Burfel. Fanny, you remember my friend, Ferd Burfel. Ferd Burfel, this is Fanny Farkle.
Hello, Fanny. Say, Frank, this is a fancy flat you got here.
Thanks, Ferd. You know, I did it all myself.
Is that right?
Yes, that's right, Ferd. Frank does everything himself.
That's right, Ferd. I do everything myself. Electrical, plumbing, the whole smash.
Is that right?
There is the thing I didn't do. I mean, I did everything myself. Ask my boy, Junior. Didn't I do everything myself?
Almost, Daddy. Mommy made the curtains.
Isn't he cute?
Oh, Fred, this is our son, Frank Farkle IV.
Yes, Ferd. I'm Frank Farkle III.
Really? I'm Ferd the First.
Isn't this wonderful? In one room, we've got a fourth Farkle, a Frank the Third, and a first Ferd.
And you look like a little Frankfurter yourself.
That's my boy.
That's a fine-looking boy you got there, Frank.
Thanks, Ferd.
Tune in next week, folks, and follow the further foibles of frivolous Ferd and his faithful friend Frank when we hear Ferd say...
It's a fine-looking boy you got there, Frank.
Thanks, Ferd.
Hello, dear. How are things at the office today?
Oh, just fine.
Good, good. Well, dinner's nearly ready.
Why don't we get a babysitter for the kids and go out to a movie tonight?
Well, a good idea. What's playing?
I don't know. Let's see. Now, there's Lust in the Night. Passion in the Dust. The Gay Caballero Meets the African Queen.
Gee, is nothing but nudity and sex.
That's right. Just sex, sex, sex. That's all it seems to be.
Well, is sex all they think that people are interested in, for heaven's sake?
Oh,
Well,
that's right.
leave it to Hollywood to overdo a good thing. Sex, sex, sex.
Listen, Mrs. Farkle, why doesn't the whole Farkel family just stay home and have dinner together?
Oh, that's a fine idea. When it's about dinner time, I'll call the kids in. Mark, Sparkle, Park, Dink, Art, Clark.
Yeah, don't forget Mart, Hart, Bart, and the twins.
Oh, Simon and Garfunkel. Bring the little ones.
Hello, Ferd.
Hello, Frank. It's a fine-looking family you got there, Frank.
Thanks, Ferd.
And now it's time for another episode with our friends, the Farkel Family.
Hi, I'm Frank Farkle. This is my wife, Fanny Farkle, and our children, Mark and Sparkle Farkle.
And this is our true and trusted neighbor, Ferd Burfel.
Hi, Ferd.
Hi, Frank. Hi, Fanny.
Good to have you over for dinner, Ferd. We're expecting our old friends, the Bargles. Haven't seen them for 4 years this fall. Fred Bargle.
Frank Farkle.
Fred, this is Ferd Burfel. Ferd, this is Fred Bargle, and these are Mark and Sparkle Farkle and my wife, Fanny.
Oh, Mark and Sparkle Farkle. Well, a fine-looking pair of kids you have here, Mr. Burfel.
Oh, no, Fred, they're our children. Mark and Sparkle are Farkles.
Oh, yes, of course they are, of course. Yes, I should have seen it right away. Why, they're the spitting image of you, Frank.
Thank you.
What a silly mistake. And here's my wife, Frank and Fanny Farkle, my wife, Bertha Bargle, Bertha and Frank and Fanny Farkle, and their two children, Mark and Sparkle Farkle, and Ferd Burfel, Bertha Bargle. Bertha, where's our daughter, Betty?
Here she is.
Tune in next week, folks, when Ferd Burfel says to Fred Bargle...
That's a fine-looking girl you got there, Fred.
Bertha. Farkle. Hi.
Fine-looking girl you got there, Fred.
Thanks, Frank.
I'm Ferd. He's Frank.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're Fred.
Hi. Hold on, folk. Once again, it's time for another visit with the fabulous, friendly Farkel family. So hold on.
Hi, I'm Frank Farkle. You know my wife, Fanny Farkle, and the youngsters, Mark and Sparkle Farkle, and our twins, Simon and Gar Farkle, and her, that's Flicker Farkle.
Hi.
And this is our good and trusted neighbor, Ferd Burfel. Hi, Ferd.
Hi, Fanny.
Hi, Ferd.
Hi, Frank.
Hello. It's nice of you to drop by. Our little league coach, Hank Hickle's coming over. Hi, Hi there. Hank Hickle. Hey, Frank Farkle. Hank Hickle, my wife, Fanny Farkle. Hank Hickle, Fanny Farkle. This is our friend, Ferd Burfel. Ferd Burfel, Hank Hickle. Hank Ferd, Ferd Hank. Yeah, hi. Howdy. I just came by to pick up your kids for Little League practice. I got the whole team out here. Hey, come on in, kids. Come on. There they are. Yeah. We got Herb Farkle, Bert Argle, Merv Farkle, Bert Cargill, Robert Gerber, Roy Gruber. Yeah, this is Mr. and Mrs. Farkle, and Fred Burble. How are you?
Fine-looking team you got there.
Well, thanks, Bert.
Say, how about my nephew joining up?
Huh? Oh, well, love to have him. Bring him on.
Oh, Farquhar! Farquhar!
There he is.
Coming, Uncle.
That's a fine-looking nephew you got there, Ferd.
Don't fail to tune in next week, folks, when we'll hear Coach Hickle say...
That's a fine-looking nephew you got there, Ferd.
A Farkle a day keeps the buffalo away.
And now, folks, another episode in our frivolous fantasy of the fabulous Farkel family with Fred Farmer as Farkle, Farmer Farkle, Francis Vogel as Fanny Farkle, Fritz Fingal as Mark Farkle, and featuring America's own Billy Box as Ferd Burfel, and me, Ferd Frankel as Farkle Farkle. This week's chapter is entitled A Visit from the Police.
Ferd, good friend and trusted neighbor, there was a sneak thief in the neighborhood last night.
Frank's right, Ferd.
I heard, Fanny.
Ferd heard, Frank.
I heard Ferd heard, Fanny. Well, Frank Farkle here.
I'm Officer Phil McCarkle.
Phil McCarkle.
Frank Farkle?
Yes, welcome in the house, Phil. Officer McCarkle, like you meet the family. That's Fanny Farkle, Phil McCarkle. There's Mark and Sparkle Farkle. Twins, Simon and Gar Farkle, and her, Flicker Farkle. Farkles, Phil McCarkle.
And this is our good friend and trusted neighbor, Ferd Burfel. Phil.
Yeah. What's up, Phil?
Well, we caught what we think is a sneak thief in the neighborhood.
That
A desperate, wild-eyed, bugging-you-looking hoodlum is something else. I'll bring him in for you. Come in here, you little devil. Come on in now. Get a hold of yourself. Get a hold of yourself. Yes, you have got a hold of yourself. All right, stand over there. Away from the plant. You might kill it. All right, now take your time.
Oh.
Sure. Well, what do you say?
Sit down. Children.
I'm sorry. Doesn't look like anybody we've ever seen. Sorry.
You're sorry?
No, I'm Frank.
Burfel?
Farkle.
Tune in next week, folks, when we'll hear Ferd Burfel say to Phil McCarkle...
It's a mighty fine-looking thief you've got there, McForkle.
That's McCarkle.
I'm sorry.
No, you're Ferd.
I'm Frank Farkle.
I'm Fanny Farkle.
I'm Mark Farkle.
I'm Sparkle Farkle.
And we're the Farkle twins.
I'm Simon Farkle.
I'm Gar Farkle.
Simon.
And Gar Farkle.
We're
Farkles.
Hi!
I think you all are.
Fanny?
Farkle.
And me, I'm Phil McCarkle, and I'm taking this whole Farkle family to the picky.
That's Pokey.
I'm sorry. I think you all are.
They sure are.
Wouldn't it be wonderful sometime to get the Farkles and the Frickerts together for a friendly fish fry Friday?
Want to see my flounder?
Well, we all have our hang-ups.
And now it's time once again for One Man's Farkle, the fantastic fable of a fabulous family, their familiar friends, and frivolous foibles. Volume 4, Chapter 44, entitled A Visit from Father.
Farkle family? You gotta be kidding.
Hi, I'm Fanny Farkle, and this is my husband, Frank Farkle, and our children, Mark and Sparkle, and the twins, Simon and Gar Farkle.
And her, Flicker Farkle.
Hi!
And this is our close friend and trusted neighbor, Ferd Burfel. What's new, Ferd?
Felicitous findings, Frank. I just found out that my fond father and his old fraternity friend will arrive shortly. I am now awaiting the telegram as to the time.
Arriving by noon if coming by plane. A little bit later if coming by train. I'll be there, never fear, signed Father dear.
That's a mighty fine telegram, boy, we've got here.
Yes. What's your name, son?
Fritz Vogel.
Fritz Vogel, Frank Farkle. Fanny Farkle, Fritz Vogel. Fanny Fritz, Fritz Fanny.
And we're the twins.
Simon.
And Gar Farkle.
Simon.
And Gar.
We're Farkle.
And her, Flicker Farkle.
Hi!
Here, son, you deserve this.
Oh, thank you, sir. I have striven to meet approval as a telegram messenger ever since I was an abandoned child in Chicopee, Massachusetts.
Oh, my fond father's fraternity friend who was arriving momentarily was obliged to abandon his infant son in Chicopee, Massachusetts, but recently heard the lad has become a telegram messenger in this very city.
That must be them.
Father!
Son!
Don't fail to tune in next week, friends, when we'll hear Ferd Burfel say...
That's a mighty fine-looking abandoned son you've got there.
Hi, Ferd.
Hi, Frank.
And I'm Fritz Vogel.
Are you the first Vogel?
No, I'm the last Vogel.
Fine-looking agent you've got there.
You're darn right you are.
And me, I'm Bullets Farkle.
Fair warning, fine friends. Once more we find ourselves face to face with those feckless felons of fun and frippery, those frantic, fantastic, fun-loving folk, the Farkel family.
Hi there, I'm Frank Farkle.
And I'm Frank's beloved Fanny Farkle.
And we're their children, Mark and Sparkle Farkle. And we're the twins, Simon and Garfarkle. I'm Simon.
I'm Gar.
We're Simon.
And Garfarkle. We're Farkles.
We're all Farkle.
So is she.
Hi.
She's Flicker Farkle.
And I'm their good friend and trusted neighbor, Ferd Burfel. Say, Frank, isn't that something new?
Yes, Ferd, we just came across it in the attic. It's an old grandfather Farkle who went to France 44 years ago and hasn't been heard from since. Who can that be?
Howdy, folks. I guess you know who I am.
Nope, can't say I do.
Oh, boy, I'm Grandfather Farkle.
Well, I'm Frank Farkle. My wife, Fanny Farkle. Fanny, Grandfather Farkle. Grandfather Farkle, Fanny. Grandfather Farkle, Mark and Sparkle Farkle. Fritz and Bart Farkle, and the black sheep of the family, Ingemar Farkle, and her, Flicker Farkle.
And our twins, Simon and Garfarkle and Ferd Burfel. Grandfather Farkle, Ferd, grandfather, grandfather Ferd. How's it been?
Well, after all that, I can't remember.
Stay tuned to hear Flicker Farkle as she says... Meanwhile, back at the Farkle family, earlier that evening...
As you know, my first wife, your dear grandmother Phyllis Farkle, departed, and I married her sister Flo. And I'm proud to tell you that I've just become a father again.
Oh, why, Frank Farkle, that means that you have a new half-uncle because he's the half-brother of your father, Foster Farkle.
But no, if your present wife, Flo Farkle, was your late wife's sister, then she's also your sister-in-law.
Then, Father Farkle, that makes your grandmother your aunt, so the baby is your cousin.
But if Father Farkle's grandfather's wife, Flo Farkle, is Father Farkle's grandfather's wife's sister...
Then the baby's mother, being Father Farkle's grandmother, makes him Father Farkle's nephew once removed, or his aunt.
Well, I'll tell you what. Wait a minute. I tell you, we can settle it very simply. The nurse is bringing him in now. Let's just take a look at him and see who the little nipper looks like. Come on in, nursey.
Don't fail to tune in next week, folks, when we'll hear Ferd Burfel say to Frank Farkle...
That's a fine-looking bunch of relatives you got there, Frank.
The moment we've all been waiting for.
Oh, is Ferd gonna do the Farkle now? I wouldn't miss a flash of Ferd Farkle for all the Frankfurters in Phoenix.
I feel Ferd can Farkle forever, if it's tasteful. Thank you.
Oh, I wish I could Farkle like Ferd. Hold it, folk. Ferd'll do his thing. Here comes the famous Farkle fling.
We never thought a dance could do so many things,
like curing gout and shingles or removing wedding rings.
It's just a simple step, but more than that, it's fun.
Everyone get ready when you hear the count of
1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Get it?
If your posture is poor
and you're feeling insecure,
you should take a chance and learn to dance with a Farkle. Hi!
Mr. Agnew, they say, tries a Farkle twice a day. Tiny Tim and Vicky do a tricky Farkle.
Hi! It's a hop and a skip and a dip and a spin.
It's a glide, it's a slide, it's a right to the chin.
Sparkle Farkle tried it and cleared up her skin.
Rackwell Welsh, who is bright, freeform Farkles day and night.
So we best get ready and get on the mark.
Get set, do the Farkle, and the Farkle like a lark.
Mr. Nixon, when asked, said to Farkle's okay.
One good Farkle daily keeps the burples away.
We can dance off our cares.
Farkle-footed Verda stairs.
Feet together, friends, now wag your tail and bark.
Let's go!
Do the Farkle, do the Farkle, do the Farkle, fancy Farkle. Do the Farkle, daylight till dark. Well, how do you like our kids, Frank?
Fine, Fanny. The Farkles were fabulous.
And now, a word from Ferd.
Fine-looking family you got there, Frank.
I think I'll buy the Farkle and have it bottled in all its goodness.
It's almost 9 o'clock. Where is the Farkel family? Help me.
Felicitations, fair friends, for fine fun and frivolity. We fearlessly face you with the fantastic frolicking family, Farkel Family, featuring the founding Farkel's first feast.
Hi, this is my wife, Fanny Farkle.
And these are our children, Mark and Sparkle Farkle.
Now, these are the twins.
Simon and Gar Farkel. I'm Simon.
And I'm Gar.
We're Simon
And Gar Farkel.
We're the Farkel twins.
And these are our brothers, Fritz and Fred Farkel.
I am Fritz Farkel.
And I'm Fred Farkle.
And he is our father, Frank Farkel.
And this is her,
Hi.
Flicker Farkle. We are the famous founding Farkles.
And this is our faithful friend, fur trapper, Ferd Burfel.
Hi, Ferd.
Hi, Frank. Fanny.
Ferd.
How are the furs, Ferd?
Fine, Frank.
Fanny, Ferd says his furs are fine.
Oh, I heard furs are fine.
She heard, Ferd.
I heard she heard, Frank.
You stay for the feast, Ferd?
Fine, Fanny.
We'll have a fine fare for the Farkle family's first feast.
Succulent summer squash.
Pots of plump peas. Pops of creamed corn.
Plenty of potato pancakes.
Diced ham.
Rice quail. Ice spam.
Spiced ram and...
Hi.
Hark, someone approaches. It's Chief Flying Falcon.
How?
You'll stay for the feast, of course.
No, thanks. I've already eaten. But my family famished.
Fine-looking family Indians you got there, Chief.
How?
Well, I've been trapping fox furs in this forest for a full 5 years.
Oh, sure, folk. This is first time of many when Indian feels futile because of the fierce fury of Ferd's fickle feather.
AM and FM.
Now, Farkel family, I want you meet flying falcons. This fierce fox flying falcon, him fast fish flying falcon, her fat ferret flying falcon, him filthy pheasant flying falcon, and that one flying Phil.
How?
Flying falcons, meet Farkles. Fierce fox flying falcon, Frank Farkle. Fanny Farkle. Fast fish flying falcon, Mark and Sparkle Farkle. Fat ferret flying falcon, and
Ferd Burfel, fearless fur trapper and the Farkles' fondest friend.
Me think Burfel speaks with forked tongue.
Do the name Fred Farkle strike a familiar bell with you Farkle fans? If so, keep them cards and letters coming in.
And now, folks, friends, and fellow Farkle followers, another fun-filled frolic with the fabulous Farkle family and their friend and trusted neighbor, Ferd Burfel. As we fold in on the Farkles at 545 55th Street and 4th Lane, Father Frank Farkle Fays.
Hi, I'm Fanny Farkle. This is my husband, Frank Farkle. Our children, Mark Sparkle Farkle, Fritz and Fred Farkle, and the twins, Simon and Gar Farkle, and her, Flicker Farkle. That's the whole bunch.
Yeah, we're a whole bunch of Farkles, and this is our good friend and trusted neighbor, Ferd Burfel. Any news, Ferd?
Yes, Frank. Today's your wedding anniversary.
Of course. The anniversary of a happy marriage, blessed with 6 children and her. I can never forget it. Which anniversary is it, Ferd?
Third.
Third, Ferd?
Third, Frank.
Thanks, Ferd. Yes, well, I remember the pastor who presided at our pairing, Parson Peter P. Perkins. I can see his face before me now. I shall remember him always. I wonder who that did.
I'm Parson Perkins. Remember me?
No, I can't say I do.
I married you.
Impossible. I'm already married.
I presided at your pairing, remember? Parson Peter P. Perkins?
Peter P. Perkins. Yes, I'm Frank Farkle. Parson Peter P. Perkins, Fanny Farkle. Peter Fanny, Fanny Peter. Mark and Sparkle Farkle. Peter P., Simon and Gar Farkle. Parson Peter and her, Flicker Farkle.
Hi.
Parson Flicker, Peter Farkle, Fritz and Fred, Peter, Fred, Fritz, and of course our friend Ferd Burfel. Parson Perkins, Ferd, Perk, Perk, Ferd. Ferd was the best man at our wedding.
Glad to do it.
Oh, yes, I remember, and I remember you saying I do. Do you remember saying I do?
No, I can't say I do.
Can't say you did either.
I remember when you said I do.
I remember when she said I do, too.
And you still believe in her?
I still believe in her, too.
A perfect example of marital fidelity to show my pretty wife, Priscilla Perkins, the former Priscilla Paley of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
My brother lives in Pittsburgh.
Perfect. Priscilla is presently planing in on Pan Am from Pittsburgh.
My brother lives in Pittsburgh.
I wonder who that could be.
Priscilla.
Peter.
My brother lives in Pittsburgh.
Farkle.
Okay, but just this once.
I would like to knock off the whole Farkel family.
When we last left the Farkle family, Parson Peter P. Perkins, the pastoral pride of Pittsburgh, PA, was paying.
That's a fine-looking family of Farkles you've got there, Ferd.
Parson Peter P. Perkins is not picked the proper person. Ferd's a Burfel. We're Farkle. Now these are our folks, Frank and Fanny Farkle.
How nice. I'm Mrs. Parson Peter P. Perkins, presently of Pittsburgh, formerly Priscilla P. Paley of Pottstown.
My brother passed through Pottstown on his way to Pittsburgh.
Well, Perkins, Parson, Peter P., and Priscilla P., we Farkles are mighty pleased to have the pleasure of your presence.
And so is our fine friend Ferd Burfel.
You know, Frank and Fanny Farfel, there are moments when I don't seem to know a Farfel from a Burfel.
Tune in later when we hear Ferd Burfel say...
Well, can't tell a Farkle from your Burfel, eh, Parson Peter P. Perkins? Well, as my brother Paul in Pittsburgh says, you can't tell a Farkle by its cover, so Ferd on to others as you would have them Farkle onto you.
And now, another episode in the seemingly endless saga of the Farkle family, entitled Just Plain Farkles. We join them now as Mother Fanny Farkle says...
Hi, I'm Frank Farkle. This is my wife, Fanny Farkle, and these are our children,
Mark and Sparkle.
Simon and Gar.
And her.
Hi.
Flicker Farkle. I used to know all that stuff, and this is our good neighbor and trusted friend, Ferd Burfel. Been doing anything interesting lately, Ferd?
Yep, same old thing.
Hark, I hear the doorbell. Who can that be?
Hi, maybe you remember me? You know my brother, Officer Phil McCorkle? Well, I'm his brother, Will McCorkle.
Frank Farkle, Will McCorkle, Fanny Farkle, Will Fanny, Fanny Will.
Will McCorkle, Mark and Sparkle Farkle. Simon and Gar Farkle. Will McCorkle, our good friend Ferd Burfel. Will, Ferd, Will. What's in the basket?
Well, I was passing through this neighborhood and I found this foundling on your doorstep.
Cute little fella.
A welcome addition to any family.
Let's keep him.
Yes, the house will seem so empty without him.
Done.
I'll raise him as though he were my very own.
Very own what?
Hark, I hear the door.
Maybe you don't remember me.
No, can't say as I do.
Well, I was just passing through the neighborhood and I found this foundling on the doorstep.
Cute little
A
fella.
welcome addition.
Let's keep him.
Yes, the house will seem so empty.
Done.
Well, that makes two of a kind.
Hark.
Maybe you remember.
Just leave it with the others.
Done.
Don't fail to tune in next week, friends, when we'll hear Ferd Burfel say...
That's a fine flock of foundlings you got there, Frank.
Thanks, Ferd.
You can lead a fur to water, but you can't make him Farkle.
And now, once again, it's time, once again, for Just Plain Farkle. Chapter F, entitled The Farkle Family Takes a Vacation. We hear Frank Farkle say...
So the Farkle family takes a vacation.
That's right, Ferd.
We're off precipitously to Pike's Peak.
Pike's Peak's a perfect place to pass a period of pleasure pleasantly.
Oh, that must be the housekeeper we hired to help at home, Helga Hegel.
Helga Hegel here. The housekeeper had to help at home.
Frank Farkle here, head of the house. Howdy, Helga.
I'm Fanny Farkle. Hello, Hilda.
Helga.
Mark Farkle. How are you, Olga?
Hilda.
And we're the twins, Simon.
And Gar Farkle.
How's it going, Wanda?
Olga.
And me, Fritz. And he's my older brother.
Fred. Hi, Gilda.
Wanda.
And her.
Hi.
Flicker Farkle. Hi, Hilda.
Gilda.
And me, I'm their good friend and trusted neighbor, Ferd Burfel. Glad to meet all of you, Helga.
At least you know what you are doing.
I'd say so.
Okay, let's all go.
And while we're gone, you can count on Ferd here for anything you need.
Anything.
Well, Mr. Burfel.
Call me Ferd.
Ferd, please answer for me one question. How come all the Farkle children...
They certainly do.
Tune in next week when we hear What's Her Name ask Ferd...
But why?
That's a mighty fine question you got there, Helga.
And tune in much later to hear Ferd's mighty fine answer.
Farkle?
Okay, but you shoot old blue?
Mighty fine reading you had there.
Remember, friends, this is National Burfle Week, so take a Farkle to lunch.
The whole Farkel family favors fjords, but Ferd fancies his fabulous falcon. Farkel.
If you insist, Wanda.
Helga.
Okay, but only till I need glasses.
Time now for a preview of coming attractions coming soon. Get ready, friends. Those frantic, frivolous, fabulous, fun-filled folks, the Farkel family, will return soon with Frank Farkle and his beloved Fanny Farkle, with Mark and Sparkle Farkle, Arte and Smarty Farkle, Fritz and Fred Farkle, the twins Simon and Gar Farkle, and her. Flicker Farkle. And be sure to be here when Frank Farkle says to his beloved Fanny Farkle,
"You're going to have a what?"
Fine-looking question you got there, Frank.
And now, another episode with the Farkel family, entitled Another Episode with the Farkel Family. We join them as we hear Frank Farkle say,
Hi, I'm Frank Farkle, father and founder of the Farkel family.
I'm Fanny Farkle, who fosters our flourishing family.
I'm Marty Farkle.
I'm Arte Farkle.
I'm Simon Farkle.
I'm Gar Farkle.
We are Simon and Gar Farkle.
And, of course, her.
Hi!
And this is our dear friend and trusted neighbor, Ferd Burfle. What's up, Ferd?
All usual. By the way, Frank, where's your oldest offspring?
Of course, our oldest offspring. How could I forget him?
Not him, her. You've got it backwards.
Backward, my dear Fanny? Imagine my dear Fanny backwards.
Sparkle Farkle, our oldest, who fared forth to Finland.
Ah, Finland. I flourished favorably for a few fortnights in Finland.
Well, Sparkle Farkle flitted to Finland to found the Finnish flounder fishers.
Ah, yes, the Finnish fisher flounder.
Finnish flounder fishers, you've got it turned around.
Turned around, my dear Fanny? Imagine my dear Fanny turned around because thank my dear daughter in faraway Finland. I shall never forget her fair face, which forever fills me with fatherly fondness. Hark, who can that be?
Hi, I'm your fair daughter from faraway Finland, whose fair face forever fills you with fatherly fondness. Remember me?
No, can't say that I do.
I'm Sparkle Farkle.
Frank Farkle here, my wife Fanny. Fanny Sparkle Farkle, Flicker Farkle, Sparkle, Artie Sparkle Farkle, Smarty Farkle, Sparkle, Simon Farkle, Sparkle, Gar Farkle, Sparkle 2, and Ferd Burfle, Spark, Burf, Burf, Spark. How's the Finnish flounder fishers?
Finish.
Fine.
And I found the finest fellow in Finland, my favorite fiancé, Finn Finster. I'll bring him in.
Ah, Finland. I frolicked a few frivolous follies in Finland.
My favorite fiancé, Finn Finster from Finland.
Fantastic. I find I fizzled my fling in Finland.
Ah, Finland. I furthered a few flippin' fancies in Finland myself.
Forbid failing to be fascinated in our forthcoming feature when we will hear Frank Farkle say to Ferd Burfle,
That's a fine-looking fin you fizzled there, Ferd.
Farkles of the world unite.
My stars and garters, it's time for another episode with the Farkel family entitled Farkle, My Stars and Garters. Let us join Fanny and Frank as we hear Fanny say,
Hi, I'm Frank Farkle, and that's my Fanny Farkle. This is the family Farkle, and that's our good friend and trusted Burfle, Ferd neighbor.
You got it twisted around, Frank.
Twisted around, my dear Fanny? Imagine my dear Fanny twisted around.
Why are you wearing those old clothes, Frank?
Sentiment, Ferd. These are the clothes I met Fanny in.
Of course, I remember wearing them.
No, I was wearing them.
Tell us.
About it.
How did you meet?
Father Farkle.
I met Father Farkle this way.
We were married on a ship that sank.
We were cast adrift and swam toward Falkland Island.
Falkland Island, that rings a bell.
Just think, the only human beings there.
And thus we began our family and our 7 children.
7 children? I see only 6. One is missing.
Missing?
Our dear Fanny.
Missing?
Imagine our dear Fanny.
Missing.
Which Farkle could it be?
Our firstborn. Flipper Farkle, remember?
Can't say I do.
He was born on Farkle Island 28 years ago this very day. We were rescued, and we never saw him again.
I knew we forgot something on Falkland Island. Oh, young Flipper. I shall never forget him. Who can that be?
Hi, I'm looking for my parents 28 years ago to the day I was born when my parents left me and they were rescued on Falkland Island. Do you know anyone like that?
No, can't say I do.
Well, my name is Flipper.
Well, Flipper, Frank Farkle here. My wife, Fanny Farkle. Fanny Flipper. Flipper Fanny. Flipper Sparkle Farkle. Mark Farkle Flipper. Simon Farkle Flipper. Gar Farkle Flipper. Fritz Farkle Flipper. Flipper Flicker. Flick, flip, flip, flick. What's up?
Oh, same old thing. What's up to you?
I've just been telling about our long-lost son on Falkland Island 28 years ago today. His name was Flipper.
Flipper? But don't you see, sir? That's me. Why, our stories are identical, and the resemblance is obvious. Look.
There, Father Farkle.
See the resemblance? Not the slightest. He is obviously not a Farkle. Why, he stands out like a sore thumb. This boy is obviously an imposter. Sorry, lad, but man knows his own son. Out you go.
Don't forget to fail tuning in next week, folks, when we hear Ferd Burfel say to Frank Farkle,
"That's a fine-looking imposter you got there, Frank."
And now, another episode with the Farkel family entitled Frank Farkle and His Electric Burfel. We join them as we hear Frank Farkle say to his dear Fanny,
We join them as we hear Frank Farkle say to his dear Fanny.
Someone just said to his dear Fanny, you've got it out of order.
Out of order, my dear Fanny? Imagine, my dear Fanny, out of order. Anyway, I'm Frank Farkle. This is my dear Fanny, out of order. Our trusted friend and neighbor, Ferd, the kids, and our children. How's Trix, Ferd?
She's fine. By the way, Frank, where's your youngest son, Marty Farkle?
Strange, I haven't seen him around lately. Where can he be?
Marty Farkle went home.
To Mukluk Lapland.
Of course, dear Marty Farkle. How I miss him. I'll never forget his dear face. Hark, who can that be?
Hi, I'm your youngest son. I went off to explore Mukluk Lapland, remember?
No, can't say I do.
I'm Marty Farkle.
I'm Frank Farkle here.
Here, Fanny Farkle.
Artie Farkle, Marty.
Simon there, Marty Farkle.
Marty Garfarkle there.
And her?
Hey!
Flicker Farkle.
Hey!
I sure was. Nevertheless, I was the first outsider in Mukluk Lapland.
Justin!
He must be first.
Outsider in.
Mukluk.
Lapland.
And I have met the loveliest lass in Lapland. I have brought her home.
Hark, who can that be?
Remember the Lapland lass I lately lauded?
No, can't say I do.
Well, her name is Luckbick. She's from Mukluk Lapland. Meet Lapland's loveliest lass, Luckbick from Mukluk. Just think, I was the first outsider in Mukluk Lapland.
He was.
Outsider in.
Mukluk. Lapland.
He was the second.
Outsider in.
Mukluk. Lapland.
Don't avoid forgetting to tune in next week, folks, when we'll hear Ferd Burfel say,
That's a lovely-looking Lapland lass you've landed there.
And now an episode about a fallen Farkle entitled The Farkle They Fall, The Harder They Farkle. We join them as we hear Frank Farkle say,
Hi, we're Frank and Fanny Farkle, and of course you remember our children.
No, can't say I do.
Well, they're all here except the black sheep of our family, Fifi Farkle.
I never speak of Fifi Farkle.
Of whom were you speaking, Father Farkle?
I was speaking of Fifi Farkle, of whom I never speak. Fifi has fouled the Farkle name by fandangoing, and Fifi shall never enter this house again. That's her now.
Hi, I'm your daughter, Fifi Farkle. You shall never enter this house again.
Come in.
Hi, we too are Artie Farkle.
And Sparty Farkle, too.
We two are Simon Farkle.
And Garfarkle, too.
We two are Phyllis Farkle.
And Fancy Farkle, too.
And her. Hi! Flicker Farkle. What's new?
Same old grind.
I will not look at you. I shall never speak your name again, Fifi Farkle, for fandangoing at the Flamingo and Feathers.
But Father Farkle, just let me show you what I did.
Wait for bed.
But look, Frank! Look, Fanny, all she's doing is the Farkle, which I myself have done many times in the past.
Oh, Ferd is right, Frank. She merely farkled.
Farkled, my dear Fanny? Imagine my dear Fanny farkled. Fifi Farkle is forgiven. At last I can speak her name. What was it? Oh, yes, Farkle.
What?
Farkle.
What?
Don't fail to forego our next installment when we'll hear Ferd Burfel say to Frank Farkle,
That's a fine-looking Farkle flinger you found there, Frank.
And now, another episode of the Farkle Family, entitled The Losing of the Found Farkle. We join them as we hear Father Farkle say to his dear Fanny,
What's the score?
What's the score, Frank?
The score is 5-4.
5-4. Good heavens, time to eat.
Frank never did know the score.
We'll be back.
But first, folks, when it's time to eat at your house, there's one thing you should have at the table. Me. I'm starving. Meanwhile, here's something to sink your teeth into.
And now, we join the Farkles again, just as it seems time to eat.
Frank! Over here, my lad.
Frank's French fries.
Father Farkle, that face looks familiar.
This could be the young Farkle we lost at the ballpark years ago.
Isn't it obvious, my dear Frank?
Obvious, my dear Fanny? Imagine my dear Fanny obvious.
Is Frank's dear Fanny obvious?
But before we put out Frank's Fanny's burning question, ask yourself this question.
I'm asking myself questions when I should be watching what's coming up next.
And now, well, last we left the Farkles by the bleachers, the last Farkle left had last asked if Frank's Fanny was obvious. So, let's pick him up. By the bleachers, as Frank says.
This boy could be the Farkle who was missing.
Missing, my dear Fanny? Imagine my dear Fanny missing.
Missing.
Who are you, my lad?
I don't know who I am or where I live. They call me French Fry.
Frank Farkle, dear French Fry, my dear Fanny. French Fry Phyllis. Francie, French Fry, Simon and Garfarkle. Artie Farkle, French Fry, Smarty. French Fry Artie and Smarty Farkle and her. Flicker Farkle. Where do you live, French Fry?
In the ballpark. I live on Frank's. It's okay during the summer, but in the winter, the buns get mighty cold. I did live in a house once. I had a couch and a mantelpiece and people with red hair.
Well, what's going to happen next? And now, you may remember that French Fry, who might be the missing Farkle, has described his early recollection of a house identical to that of the Farkle family.
Don't forgo failing to find out in a forthcoming flash, Farkle fans.
At this fateful phase, we may find a Farkle in French Fry. Hark, who can that be?
Hi, I'm French Fry, in whom you may find a Farkle. Remember me?
No, can't say I do.
But I remember this house, the couch, the mantelpiece, people with red hair, everything. I'm found. Just one thing. Are we in Fleagle Falls, Florida?
No.
Frank's, French Fries.
Fleagle Falls, I remember it well.
And now, don't fail to refrain from watching our next episode, when we'll hear Ferd Burfel say to Frank Farkle,
That's a fine-looking Farkle you almost found there, Frank.